abundance is your birthright. You deserve to have all the luxuries in the world.
The American dream is a lie. Why don't we think we deserve it? Why did we hoard money? Why did we hoard information?
If you could be friends with somebody when you didn't have nothing, then there should be no reason why you should have a breakup when you have millions of dollars. That's just ego.
What's going on? I'm Miabelle. We're back with another episode of BET Talks, and today we get to earn our leisure because we deserve to be rich, alongside the entrepreneurs and cultural shifters, Rashad Bilal and Troy Millings. Hello.
How you doing?
How you guys doing?
Good, we're good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great now that I get to soak in all of this knowledge because we getting ready to pick your brains, okay?
It's all good.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Now, before we get into all of that, we got to play a game. This is called This or That. I need you to pick and, of course, give me an explanation as to why. Crypto versus gold.
I say crypto right now, for sure. I mean, if you're looking at it from an investment standpoint, Bitcoin, there has never been an investment that had rate of return that Bitcoin has had so far. And it's still kind of early if you really think about it, if you look at it from that standpoint. So Bitcoin, they say that the whole point is it to be digital gold and to actually replace gold as a standard in the future.
In terms of investment, like you said, there's never been a better asset class in the history of investing than cryptocurrencies and specifically Bitcoin. So we're going with that.
Stop buying gold, okay?
Buy gold, you can buy gold too, but diversify.
Right. Diversify. I like that energy. Okay, now I know them phones be ringing off the hook. Do you rather a text or a call?
I'd rather a text.
Okay.
Just because we're on the go so much. And if the text is good enough, it'll lead to a call.
Okay. Rashad?
If it's somebody I really need to talk to, then a call. Because you get lost in your day, and then before you know it, you forget that you got the text. And if it's somebody that you need to talk to, you're gonna pick up that phone call.
Right.
It depends on the urgency, but if it's important, then the phone call.
Now, when it comes to relationships, separate bank accounts or joint bank accounts?
Which camera do I look into?
Talk to them.
Well, I'm married. So we have separate accounts and we have joint accounts. That started out early because it was like, look, when two become one, all things become one. It's good to have my money, it's good to have her money, but when we're starting a family, we got kids, it's good to have money that, we both can say is ours. And she'll tell you that my money's hers anyway, so.
Because it is.
That's this camera, right? You heard what I said, right, babe?
Separate.
Yeah? Okay, tell us why. I'm aligned with that. I hear you loud and clear. Separate.
I just feel like, everybody has to have some level of responsibility and be a steward of their own finances. It kind of just helps you, actually. As opposed to when you group everything together, then usually one person is stronger than the other person financially, and that could lead to some level of dependency. If we're in a relationship, I feel like we should help each other, but I want you to learn how to help yourself as well. I might not always be here. So
very smart. I like this. I love where this is going. Okay, rent or own?
I mean, it depends. Honestly, that's one of these things where the obvious answer would be to own, but a lot of times, owning a home is not really even the best way to go about it because you spend so much money, and that money that you spent on a home, you could have invested and you could have done other things. So I think it depends on where your mindset is at, because even when you rent, you can actually use it as a tax deduction depending on how your business is set up. So a lot of times people knock renting, but renting is not necessarily the worst option in the world. If you're just renting and just partying every weekend, that's not going to be helpful. But if you rent and you have a set game plan and you're doing something else with the money that you're saving, then you could potentially be better off in that situation.
I think it's both, depending on your financial circumstances. If we looked at the history of wealth, majority of the Americans have accumulated wealth from home ownership. And so they tell you that, and that's like the headline, but like you said, there's a lot of costs that come with it. If we define ownership, you never really own it, right? Because there always are gonna be property taxes that you're gonna have to be paying. There's always gonna be school taxes that you're gonna have to be paying. So even if you're outright saying that, yes, I paid the mortgage off, there's still bills that come associated with it. So being aware and being educated is important. And like you said, if you're renting and you have that income set aside for it, it does open the table for you to now invest in other things. Potentially buying rental properties, right? Potentially investing in the stock market or investing in Bitcoin. It leaves opportunities for you to say, now I have all this income, and that $2,000 or $2,500 that I was paying when I was at $100,000, now that I'm making $1 million, it's like less than 2% of my income.
Okay. Yeah. Now, musically, Kendrick or Drake?
I'm right away with the tough questions. I love both guys. I think they're both important. They're both needed. I lean more towards Drake just because the catalog is so vast, but I enjoy Kendrick as well. I think when you sit down and you want to listen to music from a creative standpoint, and especially what he's been doing over the past couple of years, obviously with the beef, there's a lot of intent, and it's like its own subcategory. People are trying to figure out every single thing he says, like a double entendre or quadruple entendre. So it's enjoyable in that sense. It brings light to the game. I think both are needed, but I sway to the 6 side a little bit.
You were prepared for that question.
Yeah,
Rashad, what about you?
Yeah, they both dope. They both in my top 10. J. Cole's my favorite out of the big three, but to answer your question, I don't really listen to either one of them albums like that, but I would definitely probably consume just by accident Drake's music a lot more. You have no choice but to consume Drake's music, and he does make a lot of great music. Held you down for 15 summers. So can't front on Drake.
Okay. And you guys are very talented too. New authors. Can we give it up for that? Yeah.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you.
Now, you deserve to be rich. We get to master the inner game of wealth and claim our future. Something that I really, really love about this book is that I don't feel like I'm being talked at. I feel like we're having a well-rounded conversation between Black folk about money, something that we don't often talk about. It's like taboo in our homes, in our relationships, out in these streets. It's something that we keep to ourselves. Why do you think that is? And what about this book is going to shift that?
You're taught not to ask adults about money. You're taught not to ask somebody how much money they make, you know, how much your house costs. Having that level of information is vitally important. When you don't know what to do, you do what you know. That's just continuing to just make the same mistakes over and over again. This is like a manual where we talk about real estate, we talk about credit, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about mistakes, we talk about how to rebound from mistakes, and that's something that's vitally important because if you don't have, you know, information, then you just go through life winging it. But the problem with that is that by the time you figure it out, you've already made so many mistakes. It's like a game, like you're already down 20 points. Now you gotta try to play catch up. That's not sustainable. You know what I mean? So it's like instead of playing catch up, we want to actually put people in a position where they could actually be winning. For like a lot of times, like, you know, we don't really think that being wealthy or being rich is something that is realistic. You know, they teach you not to be too ambitious about things and lower your ambition very early. So sometimes you just need some level of inspiration and validation that you actually do deserve it, right? Like, you know, you might not have seen that, you might not have come from that, but that doesn't mean that you don't deserve it. Like one of our friends says, like, abundance is your birthright.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you deserve to have all the luxuries in the world, right? You just gotta kind of reinforce that to people. That's the most important aspect. You can teach people, you can give them all the information. If they don't think that they're worthy of it, then they're gonna self-sabotage themselves, and that happens all the time.
Yes, it's the mindset, but it's also the trauma, right? So why don't we think we deserve it? You know, why did we hoard money? Why did we hoard information? And so one of the things we wanted to do was unpack that aura around it, right? Like we go into a historical standpoint of the Freedmen's Bank and what that meant and why that led to us not trusting banks, which led to us hiding money under the mattress, which led to us going to check cashing. And so when you start to understand from a historical perspective where you've been, you kind of understand why you got to this point. Knowing that, we want to create solutions, and I think that the book focuses on that. And so, you know, we were super intentional. It's the reason why the first line of the book is like, the American dream is a lie. We've been told this thing, get the white picket fence, get the 2.5 kids, and be happy. And we've all lived life enough to know that, wait, that's not my script. So here comes a new script.
Now that brings me to really try to find out what happened in your lives personally too, that allowed that flip, you know, to switch for you, where it's like, nah, I do deserve this.
I just always knew, like, you know, that I didn't really want to live a life of just getting by. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't something that was appealing to me. On the financial side, Wall Street, stuff like that, watching people making millions of dollars and wearing pinstripe suits and going downtown with briefcases, that was inspirational. Of course, rap, hip-hop, you know, seeing rappers live a certain lifestyle, you're like,
I want that too.
Exactly. That's the kind of music that I grew up on, was like inspirational, getting money music. So like Jay-Z, that was like inspirational for me. I told Nas, his second album is my favorite album because that's when he was like getting money. That was more appealing to me than the first album. The first album was dope, but he was just still in the project.
Yeah, it was a struggle.
Yeah, he had the chains, he had the suits on and all that. That was like everything that we grew up on, was just like get money, to really live a life that's just comfortable. Like, I didn't really want to, you know, glorify struggle. Like, I mean, wanted to really like see different things, like go to California and see Hawaii and see beaches and stuff like that. That was like the motivation. So as a young kid, that's what was in my mind. That was always on the vision board, to like want to be successful, want to live bigger. And then that just carried on for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think it's always been a mindset. It's interesting that he says like sometimes you just feel it.
Right.
I remember, and my mom still has it, I have this essay that when I was in 3rd grade, telling my teacher how I was gonna be a millionaire. And I was gonna buy my mom a house. When I got to be a millionaire, my mom asked me what happened to the house. And I'm like, that part was fictitious.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, at 9 years old, I'm already thinking like that. And of course, it's the influence, it's the sports, it's entertainment. Like, you know, Big talks about like raw nights, I perform like Mike. And we won Tyson. So we watched Tyson, we watched Jordan, we watched Jackson. We watched all of them and we like, yo, that's what wealth looks like.
Right.
And so that was what we were chasing. It was like, we want that lifestyle, we want to be better. And then having friends around you who want that same ambition for themselves, it makes it a lot easier, right? Because now we all have that same mindset, like, yeah, this is good, and this is quote unquote maybe middle class or working class lifestyle, but we want more for ourselves. And so every now and then I remind myself of the 9-year-old kid that was like, you're gonna be a millionaire, you're gonna be a millionaire. I always say like I was already a millionaire before my bank account already said it.
9 years old, actually.
At 9, I already said it, exactly. At 9 years old, I was already thinking that way.
You spit a little lyric for us.
Yeah.
We heard that was you all day back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Lyrics memorized.
To this day.
To this day.
Not all, every day.
Okay.
And tomorrow.
How did that catapult you into education and being able to teach, and not only in the classroom, but to adults?
I'm an 80s baby from hip hop. I have older brothers. So I grew up in that era with KRS and Kane, and then obviously with Jay and that golden era of Nas and Big, Pac. Just always memorized songs. I felt like every time Yo MTV Raps came on, we was performing, and so it was like, my brothers wouldn't let me get up and listen. I knew the lyrics.
Okay.
You couldn't be up there faking. This was like before there was like karaoke was a thing. So when I went to school, it was nothing for me to memorize my spelling words. It was nothing for me to memorize my math equations and my social study facts. That was easy to me. I was like, all right, we got something, but I gotta figure out what to do with these lyrics. When we was in high school, this dude he only used to talk through lyrics.
Okay.
So like most people didn't understand what he was saying, but like I knew what he was saying because I knew the lyric it came from. I remember I was in this creative writing school and the teacher put down lyrics on the desk, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant. She's gonna use music to touch the kids about literature. And I was like, this is cool for ELA, but we could kind of freak this and use it for like finance. Right? So I started teaching, and I'm like, let's take the lyrics about finance and music, because I know the kids are listening to it, so whether it was Evert, or whether it was 21 Savage, or J. Cole, or when Beyonce was talking about pay me in equity and watch me reverse to the debt, I'm like, oh no, we can flip that, and now I can teach about debt right now. I can teach about what equity is, because it's in the music, and I already know that they're listening. The first lesson I wrote was the Jay-Z line, all black Scott is sports and entertainment until we even. And I was like, damn, that's pretty profound, because all we ever wanted to be was sports and entertainment, because we thought that was the way to attain wealth, not knowing that a Robert Smith exists, not knowing that a Aliko Dangote exists, not knowing that a Dave Stewart exists. In fact, those people have more wealth than everybody that we idolize. I was like, this is it. This is the way we're gonna be able to teach finance to young children. I'm there all day, but if we can do this together, because you know, the guest speaker always people pay attention to.
Right.
So I was like, nah, you gotta come in and you could just be the guest speaker. And so we just kind of co-taught financial education to young adults, but in his profession, he was seeing that it wasn't just young adults that didn't know finance. It was the doctors, it was the lawyers. They knew what they did in their profession, but they didn't really have a financial background or really understanding. So, you know, those are kind of the origins of like how music plays into the financial education story.
Now, what parts of your background, Rashad, allowed you to be able to step in that space too and teach the adults what they should be doing with their money?
Well, I was a financial advisor. That's what I did when I came out of college. As far as like teaching, I don't know. I feel like you learn on the fly. Like, I didn't really have a background in education. I didn't have a background in business, honestly. I was a communication major.
Really?
We just wanted to just get the easiest classes possible.
Of course.
So
we went for communications.
Yeah, so the first school I was at, it was American Studies. But I didn't study business because I felt like the stuff that they were teaching me in business, I wasn't really going to use. I just wanted to get to the fast track.
Right, and do it your way.
Exactly, so I'm like, I'll just do communications and I'll just figure it out. You know, you just learn how to communicate. I learned sales. I learned how to market, how to sell things to people. That's psychological. Most of the time, it's a psychological thing. So that helped me a lot. I was a kid and I'm going to my friends' parents, became my clients, like 50 years old, 60 years old, and I'm telling them to trust me with their life savings, their 401ks. And if you got confidence in yourself, you'd be surprised. Like, you know, I think a lot of times we doubt ourselves. So just having that confidence, realizing this was the only way that I could actually make a living at that point in time.
Wow, and it worked. Yeah.
No
It worked out.
Come on.
For Rashad. That's why we here right now.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody happy for us, man.
What I love the most about this book is that we have an A and a B side. You guys are sticking true to the music and sticking true to the culture. Troy, you start with A side and then you give me B side, Rashad.
We grew up when there was cassette tapes. You had the A side and you had the B side. We wanted to pay homage to that. Not only does the book sound like our voices, but we wanted to be authentic to hip hop. We always talk about the 5 elements of hip hop. Dougie Fresh used to tell, he's like, yeah, this is 5 elements, I'm like, nah, the 6th one is what's what's been missing. That's the financial education. And so A-side, B-side, that's where we got that from. But even down to the print. You know, we're huge Nas fans, and we looked at Illmatic and Stillmatic. It's the same font. We want to use that font. That was our way to pay homage to Nas through using the font from Illmatic. And then 50 Laws of Power is one of his favorite books that had that black cover with that type of writing. We're like, all right, let's do it that color. So everything about it feels unique to hip hop, but it also feels unique to education. Right, like that's the overwhelming theme, but we wanted to have our little sprinkles in it as well. Yeah.
And on the A side, what do we get in the book too? I know we talk a lot about discipline, budgets, financial trauma. I want to know about the discipline. I need discipline.
You know what?
Bad.
I want people to identify themselves in some of the stories and some of the characters.
Okay.
We all play a role inside of each one of those characters, whether we are them or we know somebody like them. And so going on those journeys, understanding what discipline is, what does that look like, right? Like, how do we unpack trauma? What was the cause of the trauma? How have we responded to it? What are ways to heal from it and go forward with it? Those are all part of the, conversations that we don't have. So that A side is focusing on that, introducing you to the characters, introducing you to ideas, but then following them throughout the book to see, like, how you see yourself in them and how you see them play this out and how you can use some of those same strategies for yourself.
Give me the B side, Rashad.
I think the B side is like the implementation part, as far as like, talking about the specific type of retirement plans and insurance and, investing and stuff like that. So you got to build up, and then you got to actually execute.
And of course, you guys also had a co-writer on this project who is a Black woman.
Shout out to Candace Bimbo, who was a co-writer on this. It was important. I mean, I think just naturally, the way that we've progressed as a company,
right.
Black women have always played a huge role. Our first guest was a Black woman. Trademark attorney is a Black woman. Our entertainment attorney is a Black woman. So we always want to encourage and implore and highlight our women. And so
your publicist too.
Our publicist.
Shouts to Frank.
I'll clap for you, Frank.
Yes.
Our publicist is a Black. So I mean, there's a common theme here. We want to uplift and highlight and encourage our women and put them in positions of power. Candace was astute. She was like, I love you guys. In fact, I was watching your show last week. In fact, I'm gonna be watching tonight. And when we heard that, we were like, yeah, this is somebody that we definitely want to work with, and I'm glad we did, because I think we put together a masterpiece.
You guys, number one when it comes to business podcasts, and great friends who do great business together. How do you maintain that relationship? Because, friendships, family, business, money, how do you guys grow in that space together?
You just got to keep things in perspective. Like, if you could be friends with somebody when you didn't have nothing, then there should be no reason why you should have a breakup when you have millions of dollars. That's just ego.
Right.
At the end of the day, like, you're only as good as your unit. When you start to break up a unit, then that usually is the downfall. Very few times do you see people break up and it's more successful. It doesn't really happen. Like, even like Jim Jones, every time we run in the gym, he always tells us the same thing, like, make sure y'all stay together. He likes what we're seeing, but that's also probably from trauma that he went through, right? So he's trying to advise us not to make the same mistakes that a lot of other people have made. And, a lot of times people might look at it like I can get more by myself, but, that's a selfish mentality. That's not advisable if you're really trying to be successful at the highest level.
Gotta let go of that ego. When it comes to InvestFest, I want you to tell us how this started.
There's always been business conferences. There's always been business symposiums. They run a certain way. They have a certain look and a certain feel. We wanted to kind of have a signature event, but we wanted to be different. So the idea of a festival was important because I've never heard of a business festival before.
Right.
Most of the time, business conferences, they have like breakout rooms.
Right.
The biggest room might fit like 500 people or 1,000 people. Our room fits 12,000 people. The big stages and smaller stage fits like 4,000 people. So it's nothing like you've seen before, like jumbotrons and fireworks and all of this type of stuff. We wanted to add that flair to it. But then we're gonna have panel discussions about crypto, about real estate. Then we're gonna add some celebrities in.
And they all come out to support you guys. They really respect the movement.
Yeah, for sure. It's all relationships. That's the key to it. This year we had 50, we had Stephen A. Smith, we had Steve Harvey. We've definitely been blessed with a lot of high profile friends, and there's other good people in business too who have given us a lot of support. We have all-day panels, we have keynotes, we have celebrity interview. We wanted to make it about business empowerment. We gave away $100,000.
Wow.
In the name of Nipsey Hussle with his brother, Black Sam, and the whole family came. His father, his children, Lauren London was there. So that was a very dope cultural moment.
The winner of our 2024 business grant in honor of Nipsey Hussle is Divine Luminance.
Every year we just add to it. We just add different elements to it.
To have 60,000 people throughout the course of a weekend who are coming for the same mindset, right? Like when we talk about you deserve to be rich, they're coming with that mindset where they want to learn. Yeah, the entertainment is cool, but everybody's trying to better themselves, which is unique.
Now, what is one thing before we get up out of here, that we should not be doing with our money? Don't do it with your money. Don't do it.
Whatever you're doing, I just think that you just have to be mindful. Like, that's our slogan, assets over liabilities. So it's about having the priorities in order. Like, before you gamble, you shouldn't buy stock. Before you, just buy bottles in the club, you should save some money, put it in crypto. So just looking at life from that perspective, I think will change things for you. A lot of times, most people do is like, if anything is left over at the end of the month, then they'll try to put some money into like a savings account. But at that point in time, they already went to Vegas, they already brought the bottles, they already went shopping, and then they're trying to figure it out.
Like, I know some people like that.
It should be the other way around. Like, take whatever amount you want to put away, take that off top, treat it like a bill, pay yourself first. Then whatever I have left, that's my have fun, go out, shopping money, right? Like, not the other way around.
Okay. Thank you for that.
I would tell people to never invest in something that you're unaware or uneducated about. You see crypto, or you might see some meme coins, and you're like, wait, they made how much money? And everybody tells you how much they made. They never tell you how much they lost. Right? You never know where somebody started at. So you never could want to compare anybody's situation. Like, your chapter 1 is not going to be somebody's, chapter 27, right? So run your own race, but educate yourself before you make any type of investment. That goes for relationships too, right? Like, make sure that you're very aware of the person that you're about to spend time with, or you're going to spend the rest of your life with, or have a partnership with. Losses happen, right? But when you've done something, you've educated yourself, and you take a loss, you understand that there's lessons inside that, so that you don't have to replicate it. A lot of times people just put money in and they lose it, and they get discouraged. It's like, I'm never doing that again. Right. Well, if you had the proper plan, if you had procedures in place, if you actually knew how to execute in a formal manner, then you would realize, wait, I went about this wrong, right? I didn't educate myself, or I didn't do enough research. So never invest in things that they haven't educated themselves on or are unaware of.
Thank you guys so much for educating us, empowering us through culture. You Deserve to Be Rich is a book that y'all need to get. We all need to get. Thank you guys. Rashad Bilal, Troy Millings. Earn your leisure.
Appreciate you.